Bloodroot, also known as Sanguinaria canadensis. This member of the poppy family is a perennial, meaning its lifespan is longer than 2 years, and it grows in a habitat of rich woods and woodlands. The plant grows from 6 to 12 inches tall, and it has a solitary white, rarely pinkish flower that is in bloom from March to June. The flower has 8 to 10 petals, and it's an inch to an inch and a half wide and 3 to 6 inches high when in bloom. The flowers appear before or with the leaf, and the plant has a single basal leaf with 5 to 9 lobes and a rootstock the size of a man's finger that secretes an orange-red juice when cut or broken. Bloodroot is a toxic plant, and it may cause tunnel vision, glaucoma, and possibly death. Eating this plant may cause a urinalysis test to come back positive for opiates. Medicinally, it has been used by many different American Indians for a variety of ailments. The Algonquin, for example, chewed the root for heart trouble and used it to make a medicinal tonic. The Cherokee made a decoction of the root and used it in small doses for coughs, lung inflammations, and croup. It was made into a wash for sores and ulcers, steeped in vinegar for tetherworm, and made into a snuff for polypus. Pulverized and sniffed for catarrh, and a tea was made with broom sedge for coughs. The Chippewa made a compound decoction of the root and used it for stomach cramps. The Delaware combined the root with other roots and used it for a stomach remedy, and a pea-sized piece of the root was taken every morning for 30 days as a general strengthener. The Delaware from Ontario made an infusion of the powdered roots and took it to stop vomiting, and a compound containing the root was taken as a blood purifier. The Iroquois used bloodroot for a lot of medicinal remedies. For head colds and catarrh, dry the root and grind it into a powder, and then use as a snuff. For cuts, cook the roots, smash them, and use as a poultice. For stomach and lump hemorrhages, steep 3 roots in 3 quarts of water for a little bit. Take half a cup 4 times a day before meals and before going to bed. For internal pain, put 3 roots in half a quart of water, boil a little and steep, and take 1 tablespoon 3 times a day before meals. For poison ivy, crush and apply the root juice to blisters. For sore eyes, powder the root and mix it with a tablespoon of boiling water. Once cooled, use it as an eye wash. For coughs, fever, wounds, and sores with inflammation, take half a quart of water and half a teaspoon of the powder and boil for a short time. Drink 1 tablespoon at a time and make it stronger for wounds. For colds, sore throats, sores, and cuts, chew for all, but apply as a poultice for sores and cuts. The Malachite made an infusion of the plant and used it for hemorrhages in patients suffering from consumption. A decoction of the plant was used for black infected cuts, and the roots were boiled and used for bleeding piles. The Menominee used a compound decoction of the roots for irregular periods, and the roots were often added to other medicines to strengthen their effects. The Meskwaki made an infusion of the roots and used it as a wash for burns, and the chewed root spittle was applied for pain. The Micmac made an infusion of the roots and used it for colds and sore throats, and the roots were also used for infected cuts to stop bleeding and for consumption. The Mohegan used an infusion of the dried inner bark of the root and took it as a blood purifier. An infusion of the plant was used to cause vomiting, and the leaves were used to make a tonic. The Ojibwe used the plant for trembling fits, or an infusion of the leaves was taken for fits. Externally, an infusion of the pounded plants was used as a wash for general illnesses and rheumatism. A leaf infusion was taken as a blood medicine, and a bark decoction was used for blood disease. A poultice of the plant was applied, or a root infusion was taken and used as a wash for sores and cuts, and an infusion or decoction of the plant was taken for stomach or bowel troubles and constipation. The root juice on maple sugar was used for sore throats, and an infusion of the root bark was taken for gonorrhea. The Potawatomi also used the root juice squeezed on maple sugar as a throat lozenge for mild sore throats. Now, according to Western medicine, the medicinal part is a root gathered in autumn. There is a warning though. This plant can cause death. Lethal doses will cause paralysis of the medullary, respiratory, and cardiac centers. Death is sometimes preceded by convulsions. Symptoms include relaxed muscles, cold and clammy skin, dilated pupils, dehydration, anxiety, and slow or irregular heart action. Now, the medicinal actions of this plant: in small doses, it stimulates the digestive organs and increases the action of the heart and arteries. In large doses, it acts as a sedative to the heart, reducing the pulse, causing nausea, violent emesis or vomiting, vertigo, and blurred vision. It was used for rheumatism, dysentery, amenorrhea, laryngitis, hemorrhage, chronic bronchitis, dysmenorrhea, sore throats, catarrh, whooping cough, pneumonia, syphilis, hepatitis, eczema, warts, ringworm, ulcers, cuts, and inflammations. As for the plant's other uses, the roots were used to make red, orange, and yellow dyes by boiling the roots. The dyes were used to color mats, baskets, cloth, and skin for ceremonies and as war paint. Well guys, that's it for another video. I hope you found this information to be useful. And if you have, please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave it in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys have to say. And as always, keep your eyes and ears open and your powder dry.